Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speak Smart podcast. We're diving deep today into something I think we all think about at some point.
Yeah.
Rebuilding yourself.
It is so true. It's universal.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through times when they need a change. Sometimes a big change, sometimes just a little shift.
Exactly. And the speech that you sent in really digs into this. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. You know, life throws curveballs and we end up feeling lost or stuck. And I think what resonated so much with me was how the speaker really framed those feelings as like, hey, this is not something to ignore.
Yeah.
This is a signal that change is needed. There's this powerful quote, life often throws unexpected challenges our way, and we may find ourselves in places we never planned to be.
That is such a great place to start because we try to push those feelings down, don't we?
Oh, totally.
Like we should be happy with things as they are, but this speech really encourages us to lean into that discomfort.
Yeah.
Be curious. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What patterns am I seeing in my life?
I love that.
Yeah.
But that's the part where I think a lot of people get stuck.
Totally.
Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely. It can be really tough to be honest with ourselves. You know, when the answers aren't pretty,
Yeah.
we might find some self-sabotage or realize we've been settling,
Right.
but that self-awareness is the foundation of any meaningful change.
So, okay, we've acknowledged we need a change. We've done some of that inner work.
Yeah.
What's next? I know the speech talks a lot about vision,
Yes.
but it's not just daydreaming, right?
No, it's about direction.
Yeah.
Think of it like planning a road trip.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just get in the car and start driving.
No.
You'd want a destination, a route, maybe a list of stops along the way.
I love that analogy. Okay, so how do we translate that to rebuilding ourselves? I know the speech mentioned vision boards. Is that where we start?
Vision boards can be a great tool, but it's not just about pretty pictures.
Right.
It's about what matters to you. What does your ideal life look like? Health, relationships, career, personal growth. Then find images or words that really represent those goals. It's about connecting visually and emotionally.
Okay, so we have our vision board. We're feeling inspired.
Yes.
But then what I think a lot of people struggle with, actually taking action.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just want the change.
Right.
We have to work towards it. And that's where consistent action comes in.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yes.
It's not about making huge sweeping changes overnight, is it?
You got it. The speech actually emphasizes breaking down your big vision
Right.
into smaller steps.
Yep.
So instead of saying, I'm going to overhaul my whole career, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to move closer to that goal?
Okay.
Maybe update your resume or reach out to someone in your field for advice.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
It's way less overwhelming and you get to build some momentum and confidence as you go.
Yes. And the speech talks about the power of routine for this consistent action.
Oh, yeah?
Like think about brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. You just do it.
It's a habit.
Yes. We can do that with our growth goals too.
So instead of changing everything at once, just make small, sustainable changes to
Exactly.
your daily routine.
Maybe swap that sugary drink for water.
Right.
Or go for a walk at lunch.
I like it.
Small changes add up over time.
So encouraging. It's not about being perfect, just making progress.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. What I'm hearing is that rebuilding yourself isn't just these external changes.
That's right.
It's internal shifts too.
Yes.
The speech talks about personal growth.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting. The speech defines personal growth as an active choice to evolve, learn, and adapt throughout your life. So it's more than just checking off goals on a list.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a more well-rounded and fulfilled person.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Beautifully said. And it's an ongoing journey, not a destination.
I like that.
And it all starts with self-awareness.
Okay, so how do we cultivate that self-awareness?
Take an honest look at yourself. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
And see where you'd like to grow. Ask yourself tough questions. What are my values? What are my fears? What limiting beliefs are holding me back?
Oh, that's tough. But I can see how it's essential for setting really meaningful goals.
It is.
So once we have that self-awareness, where do we go from there?
The speech says set clear and meaningful personal development goals. These can be in any area: relationships, emotional intelligence skills, health, spirituality. What are your priorities for growth?
Right, and then break those goals down into smaller steps.
Exactly. Make it achievable and less overwhelming. But the speech also acknowledges that it's not always comfortable.
Right.
It can require facing fears and stepping outside of our comfort zones.
And that's where a lot of people get stuck.
It can be scary,
Yeah.
but you have to identify those fears and start challenging them one small step at a time.
Okay.
Maybe it's having that conversation you've been avoiding or signing up for a class that intimidates you.
So pushing ourselves, even if it's scary.
And every time you do that, you build resilience and confidence.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in that end goal,
Yeah.
but we have to acknowledge the progress we're making.
Celebrate those small victories.
I love that.
Mm.
It's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about making progress.
Embracing the idea that we are always evolving and becoming better.
So powerful. Taking the pressure off of having to have it all figured out right now.
Exactly. And it opens up so many possibilities for what you can achieve.
This is such a good conversation, but I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
You're right. There's so much more to explore, especially about the impact of our environment and the people around us.
Yes. That's a topic I'm really interested in. The speech talks about positive influences.
Yes, it does. And it's such an important part of rebuilding yourself.
I can't wait to get into that.
Me too.
Yeah.
We'll unpack it all after a quick break.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just talking about this idea from the speech, the power of our environment
Yes.
and the people we surround ourselves with.
It's something that resonates so deeply with me because I've seen it in my own life.
Yeah, oh yeah.
People I spend time with, the books I read, even the shows I watch.
Right.
It impacts my mood, my energy levels, even my beliefs.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
The speech really emphasizes how much we're influenced by our environment.
More than we realize.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about negativity.
Right.
It's about those positive influences too.
Exactly.
The people who challenge us, inspire us, and make us want to be better.
The speech talks about creating a supportive ecosystem for growth,
Okay.
choosing who and what we allow into our lives.
You know, so much of the self-help world focuses on the individual effort.
Yeah.
Setting goals, taking action, and all of that.
Right.
But this speech is saying our environment plays a huge role as well.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not about diminishing personal responsibility.
Right.
It's recognizing that we don't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
The people we're with, the communities we belong to, the information we consume,
Yeah.
it all shapes us.
So let's get practical. The speech talks about distancing ourselves from negative influence,
Yes.
which sounds good in theory.
Right.
But how do we actually do that? Especially when it might be people we care about
Right.
or situations we feel stuck in.
That's a great question. And the speech acknowledges it can be tough. It's not about cutting people out or judging them,
Right.
but recognizing their impact on us and protecting our energy.
So setting boundaries.
Exactly. It might mean some honest conversations, limiting contact, or even bigger changes like leaving a job
Wow.
or ending a relationship that isn't serving you.
You know, I used to really struggle with boundaries. I had this friend who was constantly complaining and gossiping.
Oh,
It just drained me.
yeah.
And it took a while, but I learned to limit our interactions.
Good for you.
And it made a huge difference.
I bet. That's such a great example. And it highlights what the speech says about boundaries being self-care.
Yeah.
It's about putting your well-being first. And sometimes that means distance, even if it's hard.
It's about recognizing our own worth
Yes.
and deserving to be around people and experiences that lift us up.
So well said. And that brings us to the other side. Actively seeking out those positive role models
Okay.
and supportive communities.
I love that. But honestly, where do we find these amazing people?
Well, the speech has a few suggestions.
Yeah.
Think about your interests and values.
You know what?
Are there groups that align with those?
Yeah.
A book club, a hiking group, volunteering, a spiritual community, an online forum. So many possibilities.
So be proactive. Put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Connect with people who share our passions.
And who inspire you.
And the speech mentioned mentorship too.
Yes. Finding someone who's been there can be invaluable.
I've had a few mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much their support has helped me. It's like having someone in your corner.
Exactly. They can offer encouragement, share their wisdom,
Right.
and help you navigate challenges, and even introduce you to new networks and opportunities.
It really expands that circle of positive influence.
It does.
This makes me think about being a good influence on others too.
Yes.
It's a two-way street.
It is. The speech touches on this. Be mindful of how we show up
Yeah.
and impact the people around us. We can all be a positive force.
Okay, so we talked about distancing from negativity, finding those positive role models in communities
Right.
and mentorship. What other tips does the speech have for creating that supportive environment.
One that stood out to me was being mindful of the media we consume.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get sucked into negativity,
Totally.
especially the news or social media.
I'm so guilty of that. It's like a bad habit.
I know, it's tough.
Yeah.
But the speech encourages us to be intentional about what we let in.
Okay.
What if instead of the news or scrolling, we spent that time reading an inspiring book?
Yeah.
Listening to a podcast that teaches us something, or a documentary that connects us to something bigger.
It's about feeding our minds with things that nourish and inspire us.
Exactly, instead of junk food for the mind.
I love that. And the speech talks about our physical environment too.
It does.
When my workspace is cluttered, I feel stressed.
Oh, yeah.
But when it's clean and organized,
Yes.
I feel so much more energized.
It's amazing how much our surroundings can affect us.
Absolutely.
The speech suggests decluttering our spaces, adding things that inspire us, like plants or artwork.
Right.
Make it inviting.
Create a sanctuary.
Yes, a space that supports your creativity and well-being.
And it doesn't have to be a huge project.
No, even small changes can make a difference.
You know, the speech also talks about self-care.
It does,
And I think we forget sometimes that it's not selfish.
right?
It's essential for showing up as our best selves.
The speech encourages us to prioritize things that nurture our mind, body, and soul.
Like,
Exercise, nature, sleep, hobbies that bring us joy.
we can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. Take care of yourself first.
And the speech mentioned gratitude too.
Yes, it's such a simple but powerful practice.
I love gratitude. It's about focusing on the good things.
Right, not denying the challenges, but seeing the good too.
Gratitude turns what we have into enough.
I love that. Such a powerful shift.
It really is.
And we can do it anytime. The speech suggests a gratitude journal, thank you notes, or just reflecting on what you're grateful for.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Distancing ourselves from negativity,
Yeah.
finding positive role models in communities,
Right.
being mindful of media,
Yes.
creating a positive physical space, prioritizing self-care,
It's all connected.
and practicing gratitude. It feels like it all fits together.
It does. Creating a supportive environment is crucial for rebuilding yourself.
I'm so glad we talked about this.
Me too.
That's something I'll be thinking about a lot. What else does the speech cover in this last section?
There are a few more things we need to talk about: embracing discomfort
Okay,
and the power of consistent action. There's more to unpack.
I can't wait.
Welcome back, everyone. We've been exploring some really great ideas from this speech, and I love this next section. It gets to the heart of rebuilding yourself.
Yeah, before the break, we were talking about surrounding ourselves with positive influences and how that can help us grow.
Yeah,
But I know that change can be hard.
it can.
There's doubt and fear and discomfort. How does the speech address that?
Well, it acknowledges that change can be messy. It's not always going to feel good. You won't always have it figured out.
Right.
In fact, those uncomfortable feelings can be a sign you're on the right track.
So we should lean into those feelings instead of avoiding them.
Exactly. Growth happens outside of our comfort zone. It's when things are challenging
Yeah.
that we learn the most about ourselves.
You know, I think about some of the biggest changes in my life,
Uh-huh.
and they were always a little scary at first.
It's true.
But pushing through those challenges is what helped me grow.
That's a perfect example. The speech says discomfort is a catalyst for change.
I like that.
It means you're stretching yourself and trying new things.
So how do we embrace that discomfort without getting overwhelmed? The speech talks about consistent action,
Yes.
but sometimes just getting started feels hard.
It's easy to overthink things, but the speech says consistent action doesn't have to be huge. It's about showing up every day
Okay.
and doing something, even if it's small, to move you toward your goals.
It's about those small wins.
And absolutely, those keep you motivated.
They do. And what are some ways we can make that consistent action happen?
One of my favorite tips is habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
It's so simple. Attach a new habit to one you already do.
Oh,
So let's say you want to meditate every morning,
Yeah.
but you're struggling to make it stick.
Correct.
Stack it on top of brushing your teeth.
I get it.
Every morning after you brush your teeth, you meditate for 5 minutes.
That's brilliant because you already brush your teeth.
You do. You're more likely to do the new habit if it's linked to something you already do.
It takes the pressure off.
It does. And the speech also says to have realistic expectations, be kind to yourself. Change takes time.
So it's okay if we miss a day or two.
Don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
I think it's easy to get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Right. But it's the long game that counts.
Trust the process.
So trust the process.
It's like planting a seed.
Yes.
You nurture it, you water it, you give it sunlight, and eventually it grows into something beautiful. But it takes time.
Such a good analogy. And speaking of nurturing, the speech talks about self-care.
Yes, we touched on that earlier.
Right.
But it's so important. We forget to take care of ourselves when we're trying to make big changes.
So true. The speech says we can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
You have to make time for things that nourish you.
Yeah.
Mind, body, and soul.
Things like
Walking in nature. Reading. Spending time with people you love. Listening to music or a creative hobby.
it looks different for everyone.
It does. Find what fills you up and make it a part of your routine.
It's an investment in ourselves.
It is. And the speech also talks about celebrating your wins.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how small they are, it's easy to focus on the end goal.
I used to be so hard on myself,
I know, it's tough.
but I've learned to celebrate those small wins.
That's great. It makes such a difference.
It keeps me motivated and positive, even when things are challenging.
That's a great point. And the speech says celebrating those wins helps build momentum.
It reinforces those positive changes.
Yes.
It's like giving yourself a little pat on the back.
It is acknowledging that you're doing the work and making progress.
It's so important to have a support system, too.
It is.
Speech talks about surrounding yourself with positive people,
Right.
but it also talks about having people you can go to for encouragement.
Yes. Having a friend, a family member, a mentor, or a therapist,
Yeah.
someone who believes in you.
And listens without judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They can offer support when you need it.
it's like having a cheerleader in your corner.
It is. And the speech says setbacks are inevitable. You will stumble. You will make mistakes.
No,
You'll feel discouraged.
that's life.
And that's when your support system can really help.
Help you pick yourself back up.
Asking for help isn't weak. It's strong
It shows self-awareness.
that you don't have to do this alone.
Okay, so we talked about embracing discomfort, consistent action self-care,
Yes.
celebrating wins, and having a support system. What else did you want to highlight from the speech?
The overall message of hope and empowerment,
Yeah,
it reminds us that we can all grow and change, embrace the journey, be kind to yourself, believe in yourself.
such an inspiring message. We all need to hear that.
We do. This speech has been so insightful. I'm glad we got to dive into it.
Me too. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for rebuilding myself.
It's a process. Remember that. It never ends.
Right.
Keep learning, keep evolving, become the best version of yourself.
One step at a time. Thank you for listening to the Speak Smart podcast, and subscribe to my channel, like the hit button. We'll see you next time.